Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We're literally unlocking the spaces between the whole numbers you already know. Yep, we're talking about mastering rational numbers. Whether you're a Class 8 student studying for that big test or honestly just someone looking to refresh your math foundations, consider this your ultimate guide. Let's get right into it.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by defining rational numbers. Then we'll move into visualizing and simplifying them. After that, we'll tackle the core math operations, uncover the 6 key properties that govern them, and finally, wrap the whole thing up with some absolutely crucial exam tips.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1, defining rational numbers. What actually are they? Before we throw any formulas at you, I want to pose this directly to you. What exactly is a rational number? Just take a second and think about it. Whether you're measuring ingredients for a recipe or figuring out a discount at the store, you're using them every single day. You've probably dealt with fractions and whole numbers for years, right? But what connects them? Getting your brain active on this is absolutely key before we reveal the core rule of this whole topic.
Okay, here's the golden rule. A rational number is any number that can be expressed in the form p over q, where p and q are integers, and this is literally the most critical part, q is not equal to 0. So the big takeaway is that little q cannot equal 0 condition at the end. Why? Well, because dividing by 0 is mathematically impossible. Think about it. You can't take a pizza and divide it into 0 slices. It just doesn't work. So as long as your bottom number, the denominator, isn't 0, you're looking at a rational number.
To put that into perspective, standard fractions like 1/2 or -3/4 are perfect examples. Even the whole number 5 counts. Why? Because it's really just 5 over 1. But what doesn't fit? Well, 5 divided by 0 breaks our rule entirely because, again, q can never be 0. And pi? Since it just goes on forever and ever without repeating, it can't be neatly packed into a simple p over q fraction.
Now, classifying these numbers by their positive or negative signs is actually incredibly simple. A positive rational number just means both the top and the bottom have the exact same sign. Fun fact, even a negative over a negative becomes a positive. On the flip side, a negative rational number means they have different signs. Just think of it kind of like a bank account, right? Positive numbers are like earning money, adding to your savings. Negative numbers are like spending it. If the signs clash, you're definitely in negative territory.
Moving right along to section 2, visualizing and simplifying. Let's see these numbers in action. In math, we really like things tidy. And that's exactly what standard form is all about. If you get a messy, complicated fraction, here's your step-by-step cleanup routine. Step 1, always ensure your denominator, the bottom number, is positive. If it's negative, just kick that negative sign up to the top. Step 2, find the highest common factor, or HCF, for both numbers. And step 3, just divide both the top and bottom by that factor. So for example, if you have 8 over 12, their highest common factor is 4. Divide them both by 4, and boom, you've got 2/3. Clean, simple, and totally standardized. And this leads us perfectly into equivalent rational numbers. Look, 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8 might look completely different on paper, but they represent the exact same value. It's like a $1 bill versus 4 quarters. Different packaging, same exact worth. By multiplying or dividing the top and bottom by the very same number, you change the disguise, but the core value remains absolutely identical. Okay, on to section 3, core math operations. We're talking adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Let's do a super rapid rundown here. When you add or subtract, you absolutely must have a common denominator. You can't just add thirds and fourths together without finding common ground first, usually twelfths. Multiplying? Honestly, that's the easy one. Just go straight across. Top times top, bottom times bottom. And dividing? Just remember the phrase keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction upside down, which, by the way, is called multiplying by the reciprocal. Master these few rules, and you've basically mastered 90% of the calculations in this entire chapter. Next up, section 4, the 6 key properties. Think of these as the fundamental laws of our math universe. Now, don't let this terminology intimidate you. The underlying logic is actually pretty beautiful. Number 1,
closure. If you add or multiply two rational numbers, the answer is always going to be another rational number. 2, commutative. Order doesn't matter. A plus B is exactly the same as B plus A. 3, associative. Grouping doesn't matter. You can freely shift the parentheses around when you're adding or multiplying. 4, distributive. Multiplication distributes smoothly over addition, kind of like handing out a multiplier to everything inside the brackets. Then 5 is identity and 6 is inverse. Let's actually look a bit closer at those last two.
So, mixing up identity and inverse is a really classic trap, so let's separate them once and for all. The identity property is all about staying the exact same. Adding 0 or multiplying by 1 changes absolutely nothing, right? The number keeps its original identity. The inverse property, however, is about reversing things to get back to the identity. To get back to 0, you add the opposite, like adding -5 to +5. To get back to 1, you multiply by the reciprocal, like multiplying 2/3 by 3/2. So just remember, identity maintains, inverse resets. All right, final stretch, Section 5, exam tips and revision. Let's talk about mastering that test. Look, examiners love setting traps, so here is exactly what you need to watch out for. First off, forgetting that q cannot equal 0. Literally, always check your denominators. Second, messing up negative signs during operations. Remember, when you multiply a negative by a negative, it becomes a positive, so don't rush and accidentally drop a sign. And third, honestly the most common error of all, ignoring common denominators when adding or subtracting. Guys, you cannot just add the tops and add the bottoms together. Slow down, find that common denominator, and you will instantly boost your test score. To wrap up this quick revision, we're going to distill this massive chapter down to just one magic number: 5. There are 5 absolute most important concepts you must memorize before test day. Lock these 5 things into your brain, and you have officially conquered rational numbers. Here they are. Number 1, the P over Q rule, where Q is never 0. That is your absolute foundation. Number 2, the standard form steps, always simplify and keep that denominator positive. Number 3, never ever forget your common denominators for addition and subtraction. Number 4, the distributive property. It is for sure the most tested property on exams, so know exactly how to expand those brackets. And number 5, multiplicative inverse rules. Remember to just flip that fraction upside down to find your reciprocal. Get these 5 concepts into your memory, and you've got the ultimate mental cheat sheet ready to go. Wow, we've covered a massive amount of ground today. But remember, math is not a spectator sport. Every single problem you solve literally rewires your brain and makes you a stronger, faster mathematical thinker. You now have the rules, the properties, and the standard forms right at your fingertips. Rational numbers let us measure the spaces in between the absolutes. So armed with all this new knowledge, what complex problem in your world are you going to break down next?